At other times, though, and Richard Muller has demonstrated this at large, whether Calvin always acknowledges it or not, he will then start writing his institutes or his commentaries, borrowing, using, utilizing, refining, transforming scholastic categories everywhere, from his doctrine of providence to, soteriology, and so much more. By the time you get to, say, a Martin Bucer or a Peter Martyr Vermigli or a Jerome Zanchi, let alone a John Owen, as Carl mentioned, they begin to just wear it on their sleeve a little bit more. Bucer is in many ways very familiar with Thomism, but he wants to refine it for the sake of really capitalizing on it for the sake of his Reformed Church. Peter Martyr Vermigli, or take Zanchi, for example. Zanchi's treatment of the doctrine of God, you hold it up to Thomas Aquinas of Summa, and it is almost the spitting image. It's a clear debt. John Owen, so let's just fast forward to a Puritan. John Owen is called a Reformed scholastic for a good reason, right? Because when he needs to defend the Reformed faith against Arminianism or Socinianism, what does he do? He goes back to God is pure act. Well, that's a clear, everyone would have known to say that would be to say Thomas Aquinas in the same breath. But here's something fascinating. Even when they disagree with someone like Thomas Aquinas, and they do have their strong disagreements, right? They're not ashamed of that. But even when they disagree, they're still thinking through the consequences. So John Owen, for example, will disagree with Thomas Aquinas on infused habits of grace in justification. He'll say, no, it's an imputed righteousness. But then John Owen says, but that makes a lot of sense for sanctification. So thank you, I'll take that, and we will actually just relocate it and put it in its proper place. So I think all that to say, I think there is this narrative out there that to be Protestant and Thomas Aquinas, these things are completely opposed to each other. I don't think they thought of themselves that way. I think what they thought of instead was, yes, we have certain strong disagreements, but we also agree on a whole lot else, especially on matters of orthodoxy. So how can we take the philosophical and theological paradigm itself and refine and transform that and maybe even bring it to fulfillment with our Protestant commitments?